Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, Don't Date Someone Who is Afraid of This F Word. And when I say the F word, I don't mean what you may think in the traditional sense. I'm talking about the even worse F word, feminism. And that's the last time I'm going to use that word in this video, because otherwise you know what's going to happen. YouTube is going to flag me because God forbid I say something like that. So I'll be speaking in code going forward. But anyhow, this whole article, this is written by a woman, and I'm guessing, I didn't look her up, but I'm guessing she's young, probably under 30. I mean, at this point, anybody under 40 is young to me, but I'm guessing under 30. And she goes in this whole thing about, once again, and you've heard this stuff before in other videos, that simply do not get involved, ladies, with any guy that doesn't buy into this whole mumbo-jumbo of what is the F-minist movement and what they're talking about in this day and age. And you're going to see as I go through her article here and the way she talks, she has definitely been drinking the pink Kool-Aid, okay? In fact, she is a true believer. I'm talking, didn't just have a drink of the pink Kool-Aid. I'm talking she's doing keg stands with the pink Kool-Aid. I mean, she is a wholeheartedly true believer. And what's so interesting, guys, is that you're going to see her sing the praises of feminism and all about equality and all that, and it goes for both men and women and yada, yada, yada. And what's interesting is that anybody who's been around long enough, and especially men, are waking up every day to realize that, no, it's not about equality. It's not about equal rights. It's not about all these positive things that so many are sold upon. Well, in reality, what it really is, and what it's been for quite some time, is basically bashing men, emasculating men, okay, and the superiority of the other group, okay? And you can see this has been going on for decades. And one of the greatest places you see this all the time, and I know I talk about this quite often, is in the movies, or television, or in music. You listen to the lyrics of the songs, or in commercials, and of course with the media promoting all this, where you have men portrayed as being idiots, weak, emotional, all this stuff. And then you have the women portrayed in the exact opposite as being strong and assertive and dominant and smarter than men and together and all that stuff. And basically you're having women portrayed as very masculine and men portrayed as very feminine. And there are other qualities that you see. And as time has gone on, this is just more and more and more. And I'm sure many of you guys are aware that a lot of movies have come out in recent years, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, where they really have reversed the roles of men and women, traditional roles, and the movies are flops. I mean, they're terrible. And yet they keep making these pieces of crap. I mean, at the end of the day, it boils down to dollars and cents, but I mean, how many big box office losses are they going to have until they realize, this is kind of stupid. Trying to promote this idea is stupid. But anyhow, I'm going to go through this article here. You're going to see I'm talking about, and she talks about dating and all that stuff. And this is just the mindset that how things are now. So for you guys that do date and do relationships and all that, I want you to be aware of all this. This is what you're going to encounter more and more. And it's going to make it more crazy as more and more guys are waking up and realizing what's being sold is a bunch of crap. Because I know a lot of guys that are good guys, and they don't quite get this yet. I talk about it, and they kind of agree with me, but they've been so brainwashed over the decades, it's hard for them to accept it's not what this narrative, as you can call it, is nowadays. So, starts off, do you know how hard it is to date an F-minist? My jaw dropped as the words spilled out of his mouth. I couldn't believe it was a serious question. How could this possibly be a question? No, but I do know how hard it is to date a misogynist, is what I should have screamed back. In that instant, I suddenly felt that I wasn't 100% respected. So right off the bat, we have her, obviously she's on a date, and a guy brings up, she's probably talking about feminism, and the guy said, how hard is it to date someone like that? And immediately her jaw dropped, and automatically her knee-jerk reaction is, well, this guy must be a misogynist, because, how could it be anything else? Right? When simply it could be just a guy who has become aware of what this whole thing is a bunch of BS. But immediately he's the bad guy. He's the enemy. See what I'm talking about here? Instead, I sat there in disbelief, convincing myself it was okay. These were the people I'd have to face for the rest of my life. I wasn't wrong for thinking that. Fighting for what you believe in is hard, and if we want to achieve gender equality, it's going to take everyone's effort. However, my experience as an activist and heterosexual woman has taught me that the most effective way to advance this cause is to date someone who doesn't cringe at the word of feminism. Well, I have news for this young lady that as time goes on, more and more guys are becoming aware. The numbers are skyrocketing every day. It's amazing. And so she's going to find less and less guys that are going to buy this whole song and dance anymore. And the type of guys that would buy into this nonsense are going to be the type of guys that, in her head, she would say is right for her, the type that she'd want. And yet, strangely enough, she's going to find herself not being attracted to those guys because they are usually very feminized. They're very weak, emotional. They behave, in a sense, like women. And it's going to turn her off because I've done articles and stories about women that, they claim they call themselves, feminists and all that, and yet they claim, as much as they hate to admit it, they still are attracted to masculine men because the other guys don't do it for them. Big surprise. The lack of education and ignorance surrounding the beauty of feminism can fog many people's worldview. The beauty. I can hardly claim myself a feminist without receiving suspicious glares and assumptions that I'm a man-hater. But I like to settle the score. Just because I label myself a feminist does not mean I hate men. It means I believe women have every right to be respected as men do without question. I think there are definitely a lot of women out there that don't get what it really is. And so they might label themselves as that as well because they think, I want to be treated equal and things like that. But they don't realize that. And of course, those types really aren't what it really is about. Okay, they're just kind of going along with it because, to be honest here, your average woman, if she didn't say identifies that or support that, then they be looked down upon and chastised in this day and age for, God forbid, not being a part of the pink club. And those women obviously don't hate men, but you have other types like her that different ballgame. And let's just say that she right now says that she feels this way, that she doesn't hate men and things like that. And I hope that's the case. I hope that maybe, and giving the extreme benefit of the doubt here, maybe she just, has obviously been chugging the pink Kool-Aid and, just buys into what they're saying, but hasn't gone too far just yet. Hopefully she doesn't go too far, but it's a possibility she will become like those types. So how do you know if your potential significant other is afraid of this particular F word? For one, they refuse to call themselves feminist. How familiar does this sound? I'm not a feminist, but I believe in equality. Yes, my eyes just rolled too. Someone that understands feminism knows that by definition, it refers to the complete equality of all genders. Well, sweetheart, that is not how it is for real today. To be honest, never has been, never will. That is not what really is going on behind the scene. The power players have nothing to do with equality for both. That's a bunch of crap. The person you date shouldn't be nervous or scared of the word feminist because inequality affects all of us. If the person you're with doesn't make an effort to understand the wage gap, always the wage gap, grape culture, and the social inequality of women to men, then it is evident they do not respect you. That's bullshit. This lack of respect can quickly turn for the worst. This can lead to your partner dominating your relationship. When one person dominates a relationship, the other inevitably feels submissive and oppressed. Relationships are built on compromise, love, and trust, not domination. Well, I do agree. I'll agree with something here. I'll throw her a bone that in terms of relationships, if you go down that route, a good relationship, yes, is built on love and trust and respect and compromise. But no matter what relationship you're going to be in, there's always going to be the more dominant one and the more submissive one. And back in the old days, usually the guy was the dominant one in the dominant role, and the woman was in the submissive role. And when I say dominant, I don't mean oppression and being cruel and criticizing her and harsh and negative qualities. Simply, he was just being the leader. He was leading the relationship. And I don't care what anybody says. By and large, a vast majority of women out there, whether they want to admit it or not, like a guy that takes charge, that he's the leader, they can feel safe with, he can be the rock. But it's politically unpopular nowadays for women to actually say that's what they actually find attractive and want. Okay? Nowadays, the script has flipped where you have women being molded and conditioned in a role that they are the dominant ones. Okay? It's all bad unless they're the dominant ones, right? Examples of dominance include anything from criticisms about your outfits to isolation from friends. Because of the dominance of the perpetrator, one might feel the only person they have in their life is their partner. No relationship should ever feel this way. It's emotional and psychological abuse. If you fear aspects of your relationship and your anxiety heightens when you think about things you wouldn't normally worry about, this is a red flag that your relationship could show signs of having an unequal balance of power. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 48.4% of women have experienced at least one psychologically aggressive behavior by an intimate partner. It says 48.4%. So, where are the statistics about how many men have been on the receiving end of psychological, emotional abuse from their partner, from their wife, or fiance or girlfriend? Are you telling me it doesn't happen? Because I beg to differ on that one. Furthermore, 4 in 10 women have experienced coercive control by an intimate partner in their lifetime. This dominant behavior is more common than people realize, and it is behavior that is the exact opposite of feminism. Another way to tell if your partner doesn't respect you is if you feel guilty for voicing your opinion. While partners don't have to agree on everything, one should never feel guilty for standing up for themselves or having faith in their beliefs. I got no problem with someone standing up for themselves. In fact, I'll respect someone that stands up for themselves and has faith in their beliefs. My problem is when their beliefs are, first of all, complete nonsense compared to what really is going on, like in this example with feminism, and it's trying to push those beliefs on others. That's my problem, amongst other things. A partner who makes you feel weaker or less intelligent because you say something they disagree with is not making your relationship an equal partnership. Well, what's she doing right here? Because I guarantee you, if she was out on a date with a guy and he disagreed with her about this subject, she would lose her shit, as she obviously was, okay? And so when she just said there, they make you feel weaker or less intelligent because you basically disagree with them, well, that's what she's doing. That's what she would do in a situation like that, about this particular subject. That's what this whole article is about. And I've known women like this, and that's exactly what goes on. So don't talk down to guys and say about, making the partner feel weak and less intelligent for disagreeing when that's what she's doing right here. Relationships never undermine a person's confidence or sense of self-worth. The NCADV says that this kind of psychological abuse leads to long-term damage to a victim's mental health. One may experience depression, PTSD, low self-esteem, difficulty in trusting others, or even a higher chance of, I can't say the word, but ending one's life. And that, things like that, thinking about that. Well, I agree those are all bad things. And so if you happen to have the misfortune of getting in a relationship such as that, get out. It's a no-brainer. In my past relationship, there was a power struggle because we were both dominant people. There's a big surprise. I don't know many women that identify as being feminists that aren't dominant, assertive, borderline aggressive personalities. So no surprise there. I felt as if my voice was never heard or respected because my partner didn't take the time to understand the oppression that women face every day. A lot of buzzwords in this article here. He was controlling, manipulative, and made me feel inferior to him. And that's not good. I agree with that. But am I being led to believe here that women don't manipulate? Women aren't manipulative? Because the last time I checked, they are Jedi Masters or Sith Lords at that skill, and they learn very young. So, yeah, it's not good either way. But don't just say that we do it. His false pretense include the behavior of pretending he was more intelligent than me, telling me what clothes I should wear, and even went to the extent of saying he was turned off by the idea of me not shaving, even for one day. Good Lord. Guys do not want to be dating Chewbacca, okay? So look, here's the deal. If you are going to if you're going to go around with blue hair and dress like a dude or dress unsexy and not shave and things like that, guess what? A guy's going to be turned off, okay? That's just how it is, okay? Don't complain about that, okay? Most guys, by and large, want a feminine girl who dresses sexy, looks like a girl, shaves, takes care of herself, things like that. And when a woman begins doing the other things, which often is associated with members of this group, it turns them off, and they run for the hills. At first, usually if they're in a relationship, they're going to say something like the guy obviously did, and then eventually it ended. These comments came from him daily, and it made me feel like I wasn't good enough for him, lowered my self-esteem, and triggered my PTSD from a past that I worked so hard to recover from. Let's not overdo it, drama queen. I suffered through a love that sometimes nourished me, but more often than broke me down. Just as love is defined by respect and trust, so is F-inism. But the stigma around F-inism has prevented far too many people from seeing this. I am not a man-hater. I just want to be equal and have my voice heard in any loving relationship. In the F-inist community, there are many debates about what equality looks like. This is not only limited to society, but also extends to the relationship between two loved ones. F-inism advocates for a balance of power, a concept that shouldn't intimidate people. It doesn't advocate for man-hating in any possible way. Well, there's what they say and what they do. In life, guys, you always pay attention to the actions of people, not what they say, okay? Because the actions are what's really going on. That's the true intent. That's the true meaning. And so you can hear this whole song and dance about what they stand for and all that, but at the end of the day, what is really going on? We know it. We know it. I had a lot of coffee this morning. My voice is a little screwed up here. We know it. We know it. We see this demonstrated day in, day out. So don't tell me, about this whole thing here. You experience this enough, you see what's really going on. Too many times, potential lovers do not see the benefits of dating a F-inist. A F-inist will work hard as they can to show equal amounts of effort, love, and respect for their partner. Because of the modern stigma, the idea of equality is largely lost in the sea of accusations of the F-inist being a man-hater. Yeah, well, I know guys that dated women like this, and let me tell you, it wasn't fun for them. They got the bait and switch. I mean, the one girl I knew that she definitely, you could tell in a heartbeat, and she and I did not get along. No surprise there. But the other one was pretty and feminine, and let me rephrase that. She was pretty and had a good body and didn't dress like this girl, but the second the guy got with her and serious, that's when the true colors came out. And then the dude even moved in with her, and that was a nightmare. That ended that relationship. But now he actually is dating a girl. It's normal. And by the way, that girl who I'm talking about, who was dating a buddy of mine, I was in CVS the other day. I pulled up in the parking lot to CVS, and I'm fiddling around with something in my car, and I look out, and I see a girl come walking out, and no joke, she's got that shaved buzz thing going on the side of her head here, both sides, with her hair she's a blonde normally, but dyed kind of grayish, hanging over, gained 15 pounds, just dresses like not at all pretty or sexy, and it was this girl. It took me a second to recognize her. I haven't seen her in a couple of years, and it was her. And so she's gone more down that path. She's butched herself up and all that, and it's like, good Lord. So that buddy of mine who eventually broke up with her, he definitely dodged a bullet. It took him a while, but no guy wants that. Come on. But F-inism, by its very nature, fosters an unbreakable love because it is rooted in equality, empathy, and respect. And if you can't respect that, it is safe to say you're not worth my time. Talk to the hand. So there you go, guys. That's what we're dealing with today. Like I said, chugging the pink Kool-Aid, okay? She just does not get it. Again, it's what people say, that's one thing, but what people do, their actions, is something else. But this is what we're dealing with this day and age. So do not fall for it, guys. Those of you guys that date and do relationships and all that, if you can pick up these qualities and these traits for girls like this, save yourself a whole lot of trouble and don't waste your time, okay? And if you're out on a date and she starts bringing up these various subjects, check, please. Get out of there. It's not worth your time. And eventually a lot of these women are going to be alone and realize all this bullshit has led to nothing. And they're going to be alone and unhappy, you know? So, but anyhow, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.